2024 Harrison Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. Gordon, if you could please take the attendance roll call, please.
Wilson Montgomery.
Here.
Steve Berger.
Here.
Sonny Ross.
Here.
Bob Cox.
Here.
Joe Combs.
Here. You'd all please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes from the February 27, 2024 meeting?
Yes, sir. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
A motion to approve the minutes by Mr. Ross, seconded by Mr. Cox. Gordon, if you could please take the roll.
Wilson Montgomery.
Yay.
Steve Berger.
Yay.
Sonny Ross.
Yay.
Bob Cox.
Yay.
Joe Combs.
Yay.
All right. Minutes are approved. Moving on, there is no old business. New business is case number 1071. It's a zoning variance request to construct an accessory building larger than permitted per city ordinance 1147.06A3. I'll go ahead and read the case particulars. Mr. Samuels, the owner of a single-family residence in the R3 residential district on the north side of the district. The development is mostly ranch-style homes on 70-foot wide lots. Mr. Samuels is proposing to build a pole barn for his vehicles and storage of materials. The size of the proposed structure is 960 square feet. City ordinance allows for a maximum of 900 square feet. The proposed structure will also exceed the permitted height of 14 feet, asking for 16 feet. The proposed structure would need 3 variance approvals: 60 square feet over the allowed 900 square feet, 3 feet off of the property line, which requires 5 feet, and proposed 16 feet high where code allows 14 feet. The proposed structure would be comparable in size to the residence. We will start off. Has everybody had a chance to read the particulars on all this? And
Yes.
it feels like they're up to speed. Okay. We will start off with anyone who wants to speak. Actually, we'll speak to Mr. Samuels first. So, Ryan, if you would stand there, please. Did you have a chance to sign in yet, Ryan?
No, I did not.
Okay. Would you go ahead and put your name and address up there for us, please? I'll swear you in, and then we'll keep moving. If you could raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay. You got 5 minutes to give us what you got.
All right. Well, I think you guys have the summary, and really what I'm looking to do at my property is to install, it's a 3-car garage is what it is. It's a pole barn style building, and what I'm looking to do is just build this garage, and given the property size, the lot size is about 70 foot wide, but it is deep. I think about 140 feet, I believe, deep. So really with this option, I don't have a whole lot of options in putting the garage next to the house. But what we decided on was actually taking the garage and putting, as you would pull in on the left side of the house, you would come in behind, you would make an immediate right turn into the garage. A couple things with the placement of that is just it gives us the ability to have a greater turn radius, or keep it up close to the house, I'm sorry. It keeps it close to the house. Our thought is we pull in the garage, we're carrying groceries in, it's raining out. It's close to the house. Also with the variance of keeping it 3 feet off the property line versus the 5, it just does give us 2 extra feet and for that turn radius coming into the house because the lot is pretty tight. In terms of the size, the 900 square feet versus the 960, we're building a 30 by 32 garage. And really what I was looking to do is just have enough space for whatever. We have 2 cars right now. My son has a car. We do have a trailer, but my goal is to keep all of that stuff inside the garage. I don't want things sitting out on my property, just junking up behind the shed or things like that. I've done that already with my 1-car garage. I'm not a big fan of it, so I wanted it big enough to have, be able to store my stuff in there, have a little bit of a workbench. And also, in terms of the height, really what's driving that is I did have a vehicle that would not fit into a normal, it's just a 2,500 size truck. It wouldn't fit into a regular garage. So I did bump the ceilings up to 10 foot, and that's what's driving the size. So really, with the 3 variances that I'm asking for, I'm just asking for tweaks. It's not a major, significant thing either way, but it's just tweaks to the current variances.
So, in my understanding, you're gonna come in on the left of the house, and you're gonna
Yeah.
make a 90-degree turn, and then your garage doors will be there.
Correct.
Okay.
Tearing down the other garage?
Yeah,
It's already gone.
it's already gone.
No, well,
Okay, what I'd like to do,
This is just an illusion.
real quick
it's an
is,
illusion then.
Ryan, thank you. What I'd like to do is, if there's anybody here in opposition, hear what they have to say before we begin discussion, and then there is a letter here I'd like to read as well. So
Okay.
if you just want to take a minute. Anybody wants to speak in opposition? All righty.
Thanks, Ryan.
And you're already signed in, correct?
I am.
All right, if you raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Can you state your name for the record, please?
Michael Mattis.
Okay, go ahead.
I live on 317 North Vine Street, so we're on the south side of Ryan's property. And I'm here just to say, the variance, the 5-foot offset is, that's the rule. And I feel we should keep it that way. I've got,
You mean the 3 foot?
it's a 5-foot offset.
5 foot's the
He's looking to get 3.
Okay, right.
And, we feel it should stay at 5. We've got properties around us. Could we set precedent doing this? Could we set it precedent for the whole community up on top there in the heights?
That's where, versus
The lot size is a lot
this
size,
is where Ryan is here.
Understood. Okay.
I don't know if I can talk about my mother-in-law who lives next to us.
Yeah, any
There's a
information
letter.
you think
Yeah.
is pertinent.
She's got-
I think we have a letter.
She's got 10 properties down her west side, similar width, so that would set precedent all the way down her property line as well.
So just to address this real quick, not to interrupt your time, but this entity is not a precedent-setting organization. What we determine might work for one person is not precedent-setting for everyone. It's
I
case
understand
by
that,
case.
but
Just so you
there's-
understand, it's case by case.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Other than that, I think that's all I have.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate you. I'm going to go ahead and read the letter from Mary Becker, and then we'll continue with some discussion. Good afternoon, Gordon. Thank you for discussing the property variance request with me via telephone. My mother, Terry Becker, who lives at 319 North Vine Street, has a property line adjacent to the Samuels. She's not in favor of this variance request. This was voiced to Ryan Samuel several weeks ago. Our understanding at that time was that the proposed building was to be 2 feet from the property line instead of the regulation of 5 feet from the property line. My mom feels that 2 feet is too close to get a mower through to maintain the grass and is additionally concerned about water runoff issues this could cause going onto her property. In discussing with you further today, I learned that the proposed outbuilding is also 60 feet larger than regulation and 2 feet taller than regulation. In relaying this message to my mom, she is not in support of this. She believes zoning regulations are in place for a reason and would prefer those regulations are honored when building. This increased size and height may also be considered an eyesore in our neighborhood of most modest-sized homes. My mother's property is bordered by several neighbors, and her fear is not that upholding zoning regulations will be setting a precedence in the neighborhood for other neighbors to be able to act outside of zoning regulations. My mother, who is elderly, does not wish to attend the hearing tonight, but would like her opinion to be reviewed. If you have any questions, please reach out. Thank you, Mary Becker. Okay. All right. We don't necessarily need to have you guys step back up to the podium unless you want to. We'll have some discussion here, and then if we have any direct questions for any of you guys, we're usually in kind of a relaxed conversation type mode. So, anybody have any specific questions? Comments, concerns?
I think it's appealing. The objective is to store everything inside a garage. That actually is very tidy.
Yeah.
Rather than have it all parked outside.
I don't think these are really big asks compared to some of the things we've done. Obviously, we're gonna go from 5 feet to 3 feet. As long as all the drainage is the way it needs to be.
Yeah. So one of the things that you said, the reason for the 3 feet is for me to still access behind the barn and keep it maintained
Right.
back there.
Yeah, I don't.
So, yeah, let me ask you this. The height is the thing. I mean, I think if you hadn't had 3 small variances, we wouldn't be sitting here right now, right? how big of a deal is it to move it in 2 more feet? How big of a deal is it to drop that height to 50? The only thing I could see is the 32 by 30. If you go to a 30 by 30, you're within the, you pull 2 feet off there. Now 2 feet, depending on if you have a trailer or something that 2 feet makes a difference, you can close your garage door, then that's a big indicator. But, increase your overhangs, drop your height down 2 feet on the trusses, and that takes your height variance right off. Scoot it over 2 more feet, and you're in the 5 feet. You're in the clear. You've got, neighbors who are concerned that might appeal to them as well. So I don't know if you had thought about that. I just want to have an open dialogue with you about it too.
I did, and my thought on it was, I'm just afraid that if I build it too small, all of a sudden, then here I am, I can't fit something in the garage.
Right.
Like I said,
Sure.
we have a couple cars, those are the bigger things going in there. I like to have a workbench, an extension ladder, different wheelbarrows, different things. I'd rather have it all in the garage than having some of it sit out behind the garage.
Right.
To be visible for the neighbors.
So
My father-in-law built a pole barn, designed a pole barn split on the property before we purchased it. And we had parameters that we had to stick with, so we keep it off the fence line, so it's not a certain size. So
right.
we did that when we built it.
But that's why why we exist, for variances, to kind of see if it makes sense or if it doesn't make sense, and kind of make a decision based on that. And like you said, it's not really precedent setting. We're kind of
No.
look at each case individually, and just see if it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, then we say no.
I just, my honest opinion is I think you can take 2 of these off the table by scooting it over 2 feet, which would put it closer to your house. We're talking about walking groceries close to your house. I don't know how that would affect the turn radius. 2 feet, probably not a whole lot. I'm just speculating here. If we give you the yay or nay, everything's going to have to go through the building. I mean, you're going to still have to meet the building code and all that. When you build, if you build, scoot it over 2 feet and drop your trusses down 2 feet. Extend your overhang. You don't lose any wall height whatsoever. And now all you're asking is the extra 60 feet, and I think that's reasonable. If you're losing truss height, you're not losing ceiling height. You're not losing wall height. You're not losing garage door height. Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Say that again.
Your overhang would extend. You're 2 feet too high. You're at 10 foot here. Your trusses are what you have you 2 feet too high. You're at probably about a 5 pitch, 4 pitch. Drop it down to a 3 or a 2 pitch. You've just lost that. Then you're within the code.
So, but if I don't have enough pitch on the roof, what you're saying is reduce the pitch on the roof.
Yeah. I'm just asking if it had been taken into consideration, just to knock one of these off. It's really
But
too.
honestly, the 16-foot ask on that, they told me it would be about 15 foot.
Okay.
I said, is that exact? It'll be close, and I'm like, I'm gonna go 16.
Yeah, coming off a grade, it's hard. Yeah, I understand.
Are you considering 3 separate doors?
No, 2. It would be 1 2-door and then 1 single.
One single, all right.
Can we get clarification?
Yes.
One, I think there's been a couple numbers that's went back and forth, 2 foot and 3 foot for the setback. Second, is this a setback from the wall of the building, and is there an overhang of the roof? Also, it is noted that on the drawings, it's a 412 pitch. I don't know, as Russell was mentioning, what other options there are, a 312 pitch, 3.5 12 versus a 4, what can be made up, so. But if you can answer those questions, is there an overhang, and what is the actual setback? Is it from the wall or the roof line?
That would be from the wall, and I think there's gonna be a 1 foot overhang.
Yeah, the drawing shows no overhang, but it'd be very unusual to not have at least a foot.
So that would put the construction 2 foot from the property line, based on that.
Yeah, that's my math too. Yeah.
Correct. So extenuating circumstances as to the concerns in opposition are basically, zoning regulations are there for a reason, and a lawnmower. What one person considers to be an eyesore, somebody else might not if it's a new metal building. And I mean, is there any elevations or any pictures or of any type of color scheme or something that I mean, I know we have the footprint in the rough elevation. Do you have any finished elevation?
No, I
Thanks.
don't. I think it's, my wife actually picked up the colors.
I don't understand that. From that drawing.
It's usually the way it goes.
It had to be approved by my wife, so
Yeah, he is.
So we'll have it siding or metal sides?
it'll be metal,
Metal.
metal siding and metal roof.
So Ryan, where this orange square is, that's not really accurate, correct? That should be further up closer to the house.
Yeah, it's not going on the property line. It's going over, yeah, it'll probably be, you see where that concrete ends right there?
Yep.
That's about where it's going.
That makes
So we
sense.
keep it up closer to the house.
So it's gonna look like it's gonna extend, it's gonna be over this way and extend back from the house, but up closer.
Yeah, the setbacks.
It's gonna be on this side of the house and extend,
It's gonna be right here.
yeah. And that's how he's coming around with the driveway.
Correct.
Because the property line's right here, so he's gonna
Yeah.
set this building and he's gonna come around into this that way.
Correct, just like this.
Yeah,
90.
Make sense?
and it pulls that up.
My 2 cents is we've had quite a few cases come across here. I honestly just don't see this being a big ask. The extra 2 feet on the height, okay, maybe we ask you to do it at 15. You know, since they said they might be able to do it at 15. Is it gonna make a huge difference? I don't know. Ask JTM how much of a difference that made, you know, because that's a huge variance there. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
Ryan, did you have anything else that you want to add?
It's a 70-foot wide lot, right? So-
Did you guys have anything else that you would like to add? Yes, sir.
I do. I have the house right next door.
If you could step up to the podium and sign in, I can swear you in, and you can.
Oh, I say I wasn't signed in, I just
That's
showed
okay.
up
That's
here.
okay. If you want to speak, we just ask you to sign your name and address, please, and then I'll swear you in, and you can let us know what you're thinking.
Is he to the left or the right? I guess he's to the left.
So are you on
Okay.
the right side or the left side? Viewing it
Let
from
me
the
swear him
street?
in real quick, Bob.
Okay,
You
my
raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Can you state your name for the record, please?
Leo Sabatelli.
Thank you, Leah. Go ahead.
The only thing, I didn't ever knew what do you call it, a variance was.
Okay.
So I came down, talked to him, and the girl half-ass explained it to me, said that with the house, or the pole barn, 30 by 30's no problem at all. This one's 30 by 32. I said, I don't have any problem with 2 feet. And then my sister called, she owns the house too, and said, no, it's the property line, 5 feet instead of 3 feet. I don't have any problem with that either. I just want to know what's that do to my property value? Anything?
This board can't speculate on property values.
Oh. So why am I even here?
Well, if
I'm not sure, sir.
Again, my question, are you on the right or the left?
or in favor?
Is this yours?
Uh,
Here, if we're viewing it from the street, are you on the left side?
yes. Wait, this is 404.
Yeah. Where are you?
Here,
You're over there.
here,
Okay.
400.
Okay,
This is 402.
okay. Thank you.
I would say that in as a proponent, obviously, Mr. Samuels has said it's going to be aesthetically pleasing and it will keep his junk inside of his garage where he can close the doors rather than have it out the back.
I like
So I
that.
don't
I like
think that will be a detraction. Obviously, in the opposition, rules are rules, but that's why that's why this board exists. So if it's not egregious, if it's not something that could be granted to other entities or in some way is robbing another entity of the same rights, that's where technically we would step in. But it's kind of a case by case. Well, it's not kind of. It is a case by case decision. So that make sense?
Yeah, but I mean, the 3 feet as opposed to 2 or 5 feet, that has no bearing whatsoever.
So the next thing we get into is water mitigation, right? When you're that close to the line and you're asking for a variance, we ask what you're going to do with all the water. You're going to pour a substantial amount of concrete back there, and you're going to have gutters, right? You just need to make sure that the water's mitigated because you don't want to be creating. Generally, the biggest problems here are water issues that move to a different property.
Well, I have no doubt that the building he's putting up is gonna be done right. Water, go where it's supposed to go. It's just that
Right, right.
my sister and I just got two different stories. We weren't here together, and she goes, no, it's 2 feet closer to the property line. I said, well, let me go see what's going on.
Okay.
That's the only reason I'm here.
I appreciate you stopping down and taking the time.
All
Yeah,
right,
you look at the width of the lot, you gotta consider that, how much room do you really have to work with, is it a narrow lot or not? Things come across all the time, depending on where you live, which neighborhood in Harrison, when the houses were built, there are some real challenges sometimes, but property line setbacks, that's not an uncommon thing for somebody to come in and say, hey, I need to, kind of based on the narrowness of my lot, kind of get a little closer, so that's not uncommon.
well, I thought it was 3 foot. I didn't know it was 5 foot, It's always been that way?
As long as I can remember.
Okay.
These last 15 years.
No, I just-
On sheds, is it 3 feet?
So for the record, you're
Used to
not
be
objecting
6. It was 6.
to these variances?
No,
Okay.
I just wanted to know if it's gonna have any effect on my value. That's all I wanted to know.
Okay. Thank you,
All right.
Mr. Tobotel. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Okay.
The only question I got is.
any other questions?
The question I got to you is that when you put this in, is the roof line of that with the height that they're talking about gonna be higher than your roof line?
No, will not be.
So in other words, if I'm standing in front of you, parked in front of your house, I will not be able to see that building?
No,
I meant, looking straight into your house.
right,
Do you know the
I
I
height?
mean,
I-
is that height-wise, above the, looking over the roof line that's there and looking back?
so if you're, is it gonna be level? No, I believe it's gonna be a little bit lower, but to your question, if somebody's sitting on our street, walking up our street sits lower than our house, there's a grade. So if you're looking at our house from the street, you're not gonna see the barn behind our house. So,
I guess my question is, when the building's built, okay, in the pitch that we're using, is it higher than the roof line that's there in your house?
Do you know the height of your roof, where the peak is?
I don't know the exact height, but it's not gonna be higher. The building itself is not gonna be taller than our house. So this is an ask for 3 foot from the property line from the structure, not from the wall.
No, you said 3
It's
foot
from
from the
the-
wall, right?
Is it from
I
the,
said 3 foot from the wall.
Right.
so it's kind of a little
What's
overhang?
the rule now? It's 5 foot from the structure?
Gordon, you might be honest, that's a gray area. It's supposed to be anything that's elevated, right? So is the overhang elevated? Yeah, it is, but the wall is the major factor there. The overhang's a foot, you know what I mean? It kind of,
The code just mentions a 5-foot setback. There's actually some gray parts of that, even with building codes, when you get into downtown districts where, property lines are extremely close.
Which they are here.
Yeah.
So what would your guidance be on the overhang then? How we gonna look at that?
I think it gets taken into consideration from way we've been interpreting the code. It's the building wall has to be 5 foot from it.
Okay.
The 5-foot rule came from the drainage swales out of the new neighborhoods.
Okay.
But yeah, you got to take into consideration because how big is the overhang? Where's water draining to?
Exactly.
I think what he was saying was that when
Maintenance.
you get closer, right? When you get houses and stuff that are closer, there's nothing up there, and that's on that side of the house. There's nothing there, but like you said, if the neighbor wants to put up an accessory structure and he's got to replace a gutter, and those things are 4 feet apart, looking forward.
So the peak of the roof will be running parallel to the doors? You'll be entering, and the peak is facing where the doors are?
Yes.
So
Peak is facing?
Basically, the
there
same
won't be
kind of roof line
gutters
as the
on
house.
that back side. The gutters will be on the front and back, correct? So you really, I don't know that the overhang matters, but
Doors are here.
I don't know that you need a foot overhang in that case.
Pull into this. So
Yeah, and we
peak of that
added
roof
gutters
is gonna
in
be
after
running
the
this
fact
way.
to make sure we're getting the proper runoff.
Sure,
It's
sure.
gonna be
We
running
do,
the
on the
opposite
backside of our property is a low spot, so we know.
No,
Because it's
all right.
this way, it's a narrow,
Field
and this is
will
the
run off
long,
into that.
so it'd be the high. So it'll be running, it's gonna run the same way that if you look at it, this front porch is running. The peak of the front porch is gonna be the same. If you're looking, the roof gonna run straight back that, behind the house, it'll be at that,
Yeah.
this way going, the length.
Opposite peak of the length of the house is.
Yeah, it's the opposite of the house.
So Russell, you mentioned if you shorten the building by 2 feet, put it in the code, then you gain your 2 feet back, and you got the street down, so then it would all be code.
Correct. But are we, you know, again.
I'm
this
looking
is
at what are we
opinion.
gaining
Are we,
and
are
what
we,
are we
yeah, are
losing?
we splitting hairs here?
We need the height of the door.
Right,
That's-
he's gaining
that's a factor.
that.
Yeah.
But what are they losing? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. I don't really see anything. I don't see.
So that's the question. What he's saying is what is the direct burden on you guys?
For the property, and then now we gotta change the rules so we can do something next to your property.
Right, but let's
So,
say,
I get it.
if he comes down 2 feet, comes in 2 feet, and chops off 2 feet, that building is still going up. So any objections to the building being an eyesore or anything like that are kind of
I
out
didn't know objection.
there. Okay, okay. But is it egregious enough to ask this board reasonably, are those a direct burden on the neighbors in any way?
I'm not
And
finding
that's-
the egregious though.
That's up to these guys. Yeah.
And that's not your property.
No, I'm just saying, I want to know what it is. If the building's going to be there one way or another, what is the extra
I
2
think it's
feet?
just the setback, really, going from 5, it's encroaching your property, and that's what's in place right now.
Of the three,
So
that's the
why-
one that makes
so
the
now we
most
gotta
sense.
change it. And it just,
I think that
It feels
for this
low.
property, I mean, the property that he's talking about, his property and his mother-in-law's property, you know, I am asking for a variance to come up 3 feet. But also, they have several acres, or 2 acres between the edge of that property line over. And, you know, and I understand his point that
That's what I'm
it
trying
could
to
be
get at.
precedent setting, that if I do this, other neighbors, but those neighbors down the line, they don't have the property that I do. They couldn't put anything of this size down that property line.
Okay.
So do we know of any future plans on the property? As far as in the area we're talking about here? No, I just, yeah.
you know, you have property, you fight for your property, rights of the property, so that's why we're here.
Gotcha. Okay, any other questions, concerns for these guys? We're gonna close that part down.
Your depth, I should call it the width as we're viewing it from the street, that's 30 feet. The width is where you're adding the three garage doors,
Yeah.
2 big garage doors, yeah.
And it was originally gonna be 32 feet, but I did switch it around, so it's
Alright.
only 30 feet to give me the extra space.
Yeah.
All right, if we guys don't have anything else important to add, we're gonna close the public opinion portion of the meeting. And if you guys wanna talk about what you wanna do and why you wanna do it, or, we can entertain a motion.
I think if we're gonna discuss making a change, I mean, if the height is an issue and, you know, maybe since they said it could be at 15 feet, you know, we hold them to the 15 feet. And that's,
Well, the height is tough because you go from grade, right? And then when you pour concrete, that's gonna switch between a foot or two. So 14, 15, 16 feet is gonna be, you know,
so that could be,
ambiguous to a certain extent.
okay.
I don't think in any scenario, even at the full height of 16 feet, it does not stick up above the house, which was Mr. Berger's concern.
Of all the three, the setback was the one that seemed like they were most concerned about. That, you know, I was thinking hard on and trying to figure out, okay, what is it impacting? And I'm not really seeing it as long as it's done properly. You know, the building's built appropriately and it's got the right drainage and grade. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. Joe, any thoughts, comments, concerns?
Not really. I mean, I looked at it a little bit, but I think these dimensions are close enough. It's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of another, just thinking out loud if, you know, different orientations or anything like that.
Right.
would help like with that setback, but, 30 by 32, it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of another, which way it's turned.
Yeah.
Well, it is turned long ways, right?
I'm inclined to make a motion to approve.
Okay, so we have,
Do we have to do
we have
three?
3 separate variances. We'll have to make motions on each one of them. So if you're inclined to make a motion, we'll have to do them one by one.
Okay.
Can I, one more observation, this is my house. And, where'd it go? Darn it. I have side entering garage doors, and I don't,
Yeah, I see.
and so I don't have that much of a turn radius, but I can still get in there. So if we came over to the 5 foot and honored the 5 foot, I think it still would be adequate for you to make your turn into your doors. But that's
What
all.
is that there? How much is that, did you say? That's a minimum of 14, right? So, on your driveway, so.
Yeah, I mean, but if we're talking 70 foot in width and we're talking 30, and let's say 535, then I think there'd be enough past the house, but
So turning radius, if they come into 5 feet, turning radius can also be dictated by scooting it back a little bit. Now, I know ideally he wanted to
Yeah,
get closer to
yeah,
the house,
yeah.
but you can fix that by moving it back.
Yeah.
okay.
If you move it back, then you're less likely to see the height.
And this board is dealing with variances. We're always dealing with exceptions to the rule, and we aren't setting a precedent. These are one by one variances.
Brian, do you have an idea what size pad you're looking at?
For the driveway, I don't know the exact dimensions yet. This is part of a bigger project, the garage is the first piece, because we wanna put in a shed roof or some type of, awning over part of our area, so if you pull into the house and you pull in behind, if you look at the house, you'll see on the left side, there's a little bump out from the house, and that is our dining room. And kind of, we have a door exiting to the right, so you walk down and there's a little grassy area. So the pole barn or the garage is the first piece of that, and then we're gonna cover that area, put in a concrete, and then we're gonna finish the driveway also. But I don't know the exact dimensions of the driveway yet.
So let me ask you this, what kind of time frame are you on?
As soon as possible for the pole barn.
And would a comprehensive drawing here answer a lot of the questions that we're getting? I'm not sure about. If you have, I mean, you're gonna have to submit that to build it anyway. You're gonna have to have a drawing that would spec all that stuff out, that would take some of the guesswork out of it. If you're not in a hurry to get this thing done by tomorrow, would we entertain a table?
I would certainly.
Yes.
I would prefer that we move forward with it.
Okay.
Because I want to get this garage, I'm paying for a storage unit, I've got all my stuff scattered all around.
Okay.
I'd rather get the pole barn, and quite honestly, we have not come to a consensus on what we want to do, how we want to do it. Do we want to put in a shed roof? Do we want to put in a gabled roof off the back? There's a lot of unknowns, but we know we want this garage.
Okay. No, that's the reason I asked.
I don't know if we're asking that question. I think we're asking the question, in my opinion, we're asking the question of where this building's gonna sit so that you can picture what the driveway's gonna look like going to it.
Clear, yeah.
And on your property, based on the property lines that are there. That's what we're asking, not worried about height or width or what I'm saying, but where it's gonna sit. And I can't tell that from what we're talking here, because I don't know exactly where the property line is. I don't know how it's gonna be oriented away from the house. What you would do after the pole barn's put in to attach or be able to walk out of the house and walk into the garage without getting rained on, which is what I think you're talking about, some kind of structure,
Yeah.
is immaterial to this, because we're looking at just the pole barn.
Right.
Okay, not any other structure. So to say that I can't see that you wouldn't have the plans, okay, or at least a layout based on property lines and everything else of exactly where that building's gonna sit.
Well, I know where the building's gonna sit, but I'm saying the driveway, I want to get the building into play, then I'm gonna figure out where the driveway. All I'm gonna have is enough concrete for me to pull in and get in to that one slot on the
Gentlemen,
bar. I don't know.
I asked a question because Bob had a detail of turning into his driveway. And I figure you guys may take consideration of turning radiuses for setbacks, okay?
Okay, that makes sense.
I wouldn't want to guess at that, so I would want to make sure, you know, that I don't run into a problem with the turning radius.
Is our only option for a table a month? I hate to call it a special meeting, but
You guys can set the date. Our norm is, to meet once a month.
right.
But you guys can set the date. The continuance would be basically is those who are here that are of concern. Now, we will note any letters to us that there was a continuance.
So I'm looking, if it was a 5 foot from the property line and it was 30 feet deep, that's 35 feet. Then if I had 20 feet of concrete in front of that, and then I'm assuming a 10-foot driveway, you'd still have 5 feet to your property line on the left side.
Yeah.
And that's more than a parking lot to line up with the doors. Now, is your,
But I'm looking not to have something that's just as tight as a parking lot. I don't want, to come in and be cutting hard just to get in the garage. I wanted a little bit of flexibility.
okay. I have side entering garage, and it is a hard cut. I got my earmark where I turn at, but yeah, it's,
I wanna
Got a little
leave
tennis
rubber-
ball hanging there?
no, I actually have a
I
traffic.
mean, do you really, do we need to really feel strongly about the table?
That's up to you guys.
So, if you guys want, maybe I'm not understanding what you guys would like to see. You just wanna see a comprehensive plan of where the driveway would be mapped out
Right,
on the property?
a plan that you would have to submit to the building department in order to be approved for actually building, right? It's gonna have your floor plan, your elevations, north, south, east, west, whatever, and some idea of an overhead view of what you're looking at. It's just,
Because my goal,
I think,
we have a lot of unknowns. And the reason why we don't have it mapped out just yet, where the driveway's gonna go, is because, like I said, we're discussing other things in terms of putting a patio and whatnot.
right,
And that's gonna take concrete, so my thought process was, work on the pole barn, get that in, I can get my stuff back in the garage. And then from there, we can figure out, all right, what do we wanna do with concrete? Do we wanna pour a patio? Because I don't wanna have somebody come out, I'm already gonna have somebody come out, pour the concrete for the pole barn, get that set, and then when we have somebody else come back out, then we would have a plan for building the patio, and then we'd have the concrete poured for the driveway at the same time.
Let me ask you, when you're done with all this concrete, where do you think the water's going? You said you already have a low spot in the back.
Yeah, it'll all be funneled to the back of the property.
To the back of property, okay.
Most of where the pole barn sits, if you look at my property and where the Mattises are and Terry Becker sits, their field, you can tell it kind of filters back. So my yard is the low spot, it comes in from the left and it comes in from the right. But, we've not had drainage issue, it's all sand and.
So right now, you guys don't have any water coming over on your side. Anywhere, he's got the low spot, you don't have an issue there. Yeah.
We have 3 separate variances, right?
correct.
The first one is height.
Yeah.
Does anybody have an objection to height?
I don't have an objection.
Then I'll make a motion that we approve the variance for the height.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for the variance for the height.
I'll second the motion.
We have a second. So motion on the floor by Mr. Cox to approve the height variance, seconded by Mr. Ross. You can take the roll.
Russell Montgomery,
Yay.
Steve Berger,
Yay.
Sonny Ross,
Yay.
Bob Cox,
Yay.
Joe Combs.
Yay.
Let's go straight into the 900 square feet, which is 32 by 30 versus 30 by 30. I think it comes down to, does anybody think it's egregious that it is 2 extra feet wide for 30 feet, 60 square feet? I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the square footage from.
There's a motion to approve the exceeded height variance by Mr. Ross.
You want the exact
No.
numbers?
No,
The exceeded square footage.
Square footage, I'm sorry.
Yeah. You want me to go ahead and lay out the numbers?
Yes.
Okay, so, to make a motion for the variance to go from 900 feet to 960, so an increase of 60 feet.
All right, we have a
Square
motion.
feet.
We have a motion on the floor by Mr.
And I
Ross,
second it.
seconded by Mr. Cox. Gordon, if you can take the roll.
Russell Montgomery,
Yay.
Steve Berger,
Yay.
Sonny Ross.
Yay.
Bob Cox.
Yay.
Joe Combs.
yay.
And the setback. 5 feet is the line. He is asking for 3 feet. Anybody entertain a motion or more discussion?
I
Or
got a
table.
question, okay, some discussion that I'd like to. When we talk about this setback, is this in relation to the property line on the right-hand side of, I'm looking at your house, to the right-hand side?
Correct.
To the right? Correct. Okay, and therefore, right now, what's the distance between these two houses? Is that 10 foot?
No, it's more than that.
Between, that would be.
I mean, there's two houses right next door to each other here, the one on the right and the one on the left.
Probably 12. Yeah.
It's 12 feet? Okay. And
that's-
right, so that, therefore, you're 6 foot off of the, I assume your property line goes down through the center of those two pieces of property, theoretically.
Theoretically.
Okay. So now we're going down through there, okay, and we've got 6 foot off
On each side.
from the property line. And now you want to move this building over. You want to be with it. You're actually going to move over almost, well,
2 feet.
if it's
It'll be
truly
2 feet.
6, so you're almost moving over 3
With
feet.
the overhang.
Right.
You're moving over 3 feet to get closer to your property line,
The
which,
finish.
Yeah.
which would give you a 3 foot
He wants to take
separation.
this and put it as tight as he can over here.
Yeah, I know.
So he
Go-
can-
Going down through here. If I go down, through here, the property line's running down through here straight. Okay, I can't draw like that. But he wants to be 3 foot off of this property line,
That's correct. Where 5 foot is the code.
where this really is, between here and here is 6 foot already.
Correct.
Okay,
Theoretically.
theoretically, we think that's 6 foot.
Yeah, that's it. Based on the circumstances, I'm gonna make a motion to approve that variance on the setback.
I'll second it.
We have a motion to approve by Mr. Ross, seconded by Mr. Cox. Gordon, if you take the roll.
Russell Montgomery,
Yay.
Steve Berger,
Yay.
Sonny Ross.
Yay.
Bob Cox.
Yay.
Joe Combs.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving along. We only had one item on the agenda tonight with no other items on the agenda. I would entertain a
Yeah, good
motion
one.
to adjourn.
All right, I will make a motion to adjourn, sir.
I'll second it.
Motion to adjourn by Mr. Ross, seconded by Mr. Berger. Mr. Gordon, if you could take the roll.
Russell Montgomery,
Yay.
Steve Berger,
Yay.
Sonny Ross.
I'm sorry.
Sonny Ross.
Do you want to leave? Is the answer.
Bob Cox.
Oh, yes.
Joe Combs.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Sonny
All right,
Ross.
so,
Yay, yay, officially yay.
hey, Ryan,
I would hope if I can't.
you'll stay in touch with him moving forward about